There has been a frantic search for missing 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard, but it is now being reported that this girl, who we previously thought hadn't been seen in a year, was possibly spotted in August. With her mother apparently not cooperating with authorities, what is going on behind the scenes? What can the public do to help? And what can we expect next? We are going to bring on a private investigator who is an expert in these kinds of cases. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Have you heard about this Melodee Buzzard story? It is blowing up on social media and in the news. It is a really, really distressing situation happening out in California. You have this 9-year-old little girl out of Vandenberg Village. This is in Lompoc, California. She has been missing. Authorities initially said that no one had seen her in a year. However, there's been an update. ABC News is reporting that California authorities now say she was last seen in August of 2025. And this comes as the FBI's Los Angeles office just announced Sunday night that it is now getting involved in the investigation. And no matter when she was last seen, the natural question is, why are we only learning about this now, right? So this is from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office press release. The investigation began on Tuesday, October 14, 2025, after a school administrator reported Melodee's prolonged absence. Deputies attempted to contact Melodee and her mother, Ashley Buzzard, at their home in the 500 block of Mars Avenue, but Melodee was not there, and no clear explanation was provided for her whereabouts. That's key. Because in this press release, they stressed that detectives couldn't confirm any recent sightings of Melodee, and the most recent photo of her was from 2 years ago. So now the natural second question is, what is going on here? Well, here's something to keep in mind. So the sheriff's PIO, Raquel Zick, told KSBY that Melodee, quote, last attended a homeschooling program approximately 1 year ago, but the Lompoc Unified School District confirmed that before that she was enrolled at Buena Vista Elementary. However, remember when I said that it's come out that Melodee was now reportedly seen in August? Well, the district has come out and said that Melodee was enrolled with the district, that she and Ashley, her mom, visited Mission Valley Independent School to begin the registration process. This happened back in August. The Lompoc Unified School District said in a statement regarding this independent study program, quote, in our independent study program, if a student fails to pick up assignments, the student is referred back to their school of residence, which then contacts the family to complete enrollment. If attendance does not begin, the school follows mandatory truancy procedures, including phone calls, letters, emails, and home visits. When a student or family cannot be reached after these efforts, the school requests a welfare check from law enforcement. We are doing everything within our authority to support this investigation, including providing records and coordinating with the sheriff's office. And here's what happened. It was a school district staff member who realized they hadn't seen Melodee, that she hadn't checked in since apparently registering. Lieutenant Chris Gottschall of the sheriff's office said, quote, Lompoc Unified School District deserves credit for recognizing that something wasn't right, reaching out and continuing to assist with this investigation. This important update helps narrow a significant gap in the timeline of when she was last known to be seen, and because of that, we're closer to understanding what happened to Melodee. Now, the school district confirmed that it is working with law enforcement during the course of this investigation. It is also offering counseling and support for students. Now, before we go any further into this mystery, I'm going to provide you the contact information if you should know absolutely anything that may help finding Melodee. Okay? So the sheriff's office can be reached at 805-681-4150. Anonymous tips can be made by calling 805-681-4171, or you can go online at sbsheriff.org. Now let me talk to you about Melodee's mother, Ashley. We talk about homeschooling, right? A California Department of Education spokesperson reportedly confirmed that there is no record of Ashley filing an annual private school affidavit, which is a requirement for homeschooling. Quote, per state law, the CDE does not assess or physically inspect private or homeschools. Filing an annual affidavit is the only thing that is required. And according to KSBY, neighbors are very concerned. You have Janet Holmes, who lives near this 500 block of Mars Avenue. This is again where authorities say Melodee lives. Said, quote, as a mother, my mom heart absolutely cannot take this. I felt really inclined to step in. And apparently, by the way, She did. She tried to go over to speak with Ashley, this little girl's mother, last Thursday morning, but apparently no one answered the door. KSBY reports that about a half an hour later, someone appearing to be Ashley came out of a car, walked straight to the front door, didn't speak with the media, didn't speak with KSBY, and shut the door. Then, community reporter Crystal Bermudez reportedly knocked on the door of the house. No one answered. Later on that day, this woman, again believed to be Ashley, was seen loading things into her car and then driving away. When she comes back, it was reported there was this large yellow scrape on the back door of the car, as well as a dent on the door. This woman, again, seemingly Ashley, didn't say anything to KSBY outside. And according to KSBY, another neighbor of Ashley says that Child Protective Services and law enforcement, they've been at this home for the past few days. That surveillance footage has been collected from neighbors. And talk about neighbors, neighbors tell KSBY that Ashley kind of kept to herself. Janet Holmes saying she sees Ashley walking in the neighborhood, but never saw Melodee. You have another neighbor who says that she hasn't seen this little girl in at least a year. And talking Ashley and talking Melodee's family, KSBY and USA Today reports that relatives say Ashley cut off their contact with Melodee for years. You have Melodee's aunt, Elizabeth Mez, reportedly told USA Today, "We haven't seen her in over 4 years due to the mother not allowing the family to see her." And that she only found out about Melodee's vanishing through Facebook. She described Melodee as this sweet girl. Quote, "She has a beautiful smile. She's very, very loving, very welcoming. She loved to be around her family." By the way, Meza is Melodee's aunt on her father's side. So we're talking about the father as Rubiel Meza, who apparently died when Melodee was just 6 months old in a motorcycle accident back in 2016. That, by the way, is when Ashley allegedly cut off contact with the family. This is according to USA Today. And now CPS has reportedly been in touch with Meza and her family about Melodee's disappearance, but we don't really have further information about that. Melodee's aunt, Vicky Shade, told the LA Times, "I am horrified for my little niece. I can't imagine what she's gone through. This does not sound good. I just want to know if she's okay. We need to find her." And as for Ashley, ABC is reporting that while law enforcement has gone to Ashley's home pursuant to a search warrant, Ashley's not cooperating. In fact, Shade told LA Times, "Ashley is mentally unstable, and my mom tried to get custody or at least grandparent rights to visit Melodee because she wasn't letting our side of the family see her." According to the LA Times, the family is putting up posters, speaking on social media to bring awareness. One more thing, by the way, about Ashley. According to the LA Times, federal court records reveal that she filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2017 and has had multiple collection cases for unpaid debts that were filed against her in Santa Barbara County Superior Court. So what we have here is currently being investigated as a missing persons investigation. This is according to the sheriff's office. But what is happening behind the scenes? What can we expect? Now, obviously, this is a story that we wanted to bring to you, and the reason that we can do this, the reason we can cover things like this, is not only because of the amazing support that we get from all of you out there, but also from our incredible sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. This is America's largest injury law firm. This is a firm with over 1,000 attorneys. You know why they're so big? Because they win all the time. They have recovered over $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months, a client in Florida received $12 million after the insurance company offered just $350,000. Out in Pennsylvania, a client was awarded $26 million. That is 40 times the insurer's $650,000 offer. You have another client in Pennsylvania that received $29 million after being offered only $500,000. And even if you think your case isn't worth millions of dollars, why not just start a claim and fight for what you deserve? Morgan & Morgan makes it so simple. You can start a claim from your phone in just 8 clicks. So if you're injured, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com/LC Sidebar by clicking the link below or scanning the QR code on screen. So for that, let me bring on private investigator Billy Lane, founding member of We Are the Essentials. It's a group of former law enforcement and military service members who use their skills to locate missing family members. They provide a great service. By the way, Billy is a former police officer, an undercover narcotics police detective. Thank you so much for taking the time, Billy. What stands out to you about this story?
The fact that no one's seen her in a year. It's very concerning.
Well, apparently now in August. They might have seen her in August.
Well, I'd like to see if that's confirmed or not, because I'll tell you, a lot of the sightings that we have, a large majority of those sightings are not true sightings. I mean, people think it's them and they want it to be them, But when it comes down to the time to actually find out if it's them, a lot of times it's not. And the only way that we were able to determine that is by camera. So unless there's a video or a witness, sometimes, unfortunately, these are concerning.
If it's true that she and her mom were enrolling her now in August for this study program, right? And again, the reason that this made radar is because you had the school staff employee who hadn't seen her since registering. That provides a timeline. And when you hear law enforcement say now, we're closer to understanding what happened, what does that tell you? I mean, August to now.
That's still concerning. I mean, where has she been? Why have the family kept her from everybody? Is this a custody issue? Is this a mental health issue with the mother? I know there's concern about that. There's just a lot of unanswered questions here, and I think law enforcement is really going to dig into this to find out. And this could be a full-blown investigation. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of cooperation from the neighbors and potentially from the family.
What do you think they're looking for when they might be confiscating surveillance footage from the neighbors? And what are the strengths of that, and what are the limitations of surveillance footage?
So it's only as good as the video that it captures. Some are Ring doorbell cameras, which only capture a certain small area right in front of the doors. And then a lot of these video systems have a very small limitation. Some of the more Ring systems will keep for up to 30 days. Others may overwrite in 5 to 10 days, depending on how the home system is set up. So I'm sure they are going through these systems trying to locate that video proof of her and that she is still with us.
If they searched her house, what do you think they're looking for?
I think they're looking for any evidence that would support whether she is still alive, whether there are things that would support that she might not be, depending on what they find in there. I'm sure they're looking for any digital evidence of her being around, whether it be pictures, whether she was on any type of devices. I would say any type of DNA, fingerprints in the home. Anything that in the trash that may lead them to believe that a small child would be there. There's multiple things. So you really have to step back and really look at these things from hindsight. And you don't know what you're looking for sometimes until you get in there and see what you find. And that's a weird way to say that. But as an investigator, you have to go in there with your eyes open and try to see if you can understand what the home is giving you, what the circumstances are giving you. What are you seeing there? What's that search warrant allowing you to do? I would tell you, if I was an investigator, the first thing I'd want to see would be her phone. Her cell phone, I believe, would be the biggest piece of evidence possible for an investigator.
But not only because of messages or search history, but also location data?
Absolutely. It can tell you everything. Your cell phone can tell you pretty much where you go, where you've been, possibly where you plan on going, and any communication that you've had with people through text messages, through phone calls, through social media. There's a lot of things. And social media is another thing too. I'm not sure if this mother was a big person in social media, but no pictures of the child, not talking about the child. That's something that most mothers with a small child like this would be happy to talk about how great their child's doing in school and other activities in which to memorialize their life, because a lot of us now memorialize children's lives on social media. So it's just something that's normal.
So she hasn't been charged with a crime. She hasn't officially been implicated. She hasn't been arrested. Her behavior, based on the report, seems very unusual. Like if she's not cooperating, if she's not talking to the media, you would imagine if your daughter is missing, that you would try to get the message out there, that you would do anything you can. In your experience, have you ever seen a situation where family members do remain quiet, aren't speaking to law enforcement, and in the end they have nothing to do with that person's disappearance? Or do you say something's not adding up?
I don't think it passed the smell test. There's things here that normal parents would be doing. Like you said, they'd be out there. And if my child had been missing, my daughter's missing, I would not rest. You would see me on every news outlet, every TV outlet. I would be at the police department every day trying to get updates. So there may be a small chance that there are some mental illness issues that's preventing her from reaching out and talking about this situation. But I really don't believe that that's the norm here. And like you said, what is the norm here? The norm would be parents trying to be involved, trying to show that there is a problem here and trying to cooperate with law enforcement as much as possible to try to get their child back as quickly as possible.
What are the challenges when you're dealing with a missing persons case of a child this young? You know, not an adult, not a teenager, but a little girl. Does it present challenges in terms of the availability, the opportunity to transport someone like this, to be able to, I guess I'm struggling. Is it different? Is it different if you're dealing with the disappearance of a child versus someone else?
Absolutely. I can tell you from what we do, trying to help families find missing people, when it's a small child, the rules totally change because now you're dealing with a smaller stature uh, person. The possibility of that person hiding or being in a location is much easier because they're so much smaller. And if somebody was nefarious, there was a criminal activity here, and something happened to her, it would be so much easier to be able to take that person somewhere. You know, one individual could pick up a small child easily and transport them somewhere, where a total adult's going to take multiple people to be able to move that person. And that's concerning. You know, that's one of the things that we look at too when we start looking at missing people, is the size of the individual, especially if there is a criminal element here. Is this going to be something that we need to be concerned about, whether they're actually moving the missing person if something nefarious happened to them? So yeah, and even as an investigator, when you're inside the home, that 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 small child leaves a smaller footprint than a large human does. There's things that kids don't do that we do every day. You know, we have social media. Maybe, you know, small children don't have social media. So you're missing possibilities of things that you could utilize to capture the movement of the individual. And unfortunately, children just don't have that. They don't have cell phones typically.
No recent photos of her. How does that complicate things?
Very concerning. These all little things add up. We always look for the first lie as an investigator. I think it's very important. As soon as you capture somebody telling you that lie, that's where the red flag comes up as an investigator. There's no need for anybody, especially parents, to lie during an investigation like this. There should be no cover up. This should be totally open about everything that's going on here, and being on the side of law enforcement, because that's their biggest ally at this point, is law enforcement, trying to help them locate their family.
How important is family? How important are neighbors in this who know the family? You talk about the challenges of being, they were cut off access to her, so they might have limited information about recent activity, but family, neighbors, how important are they going to be in this investigation?
Absolutely the most important thing possible, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be able to tell us if they've seen her. You know, if she was out in the yard playing, if she got in the car with mom to go to the grocery store, any of those areas, and family as well. But unfortunately, in this scenario, it seems like family's been cut off. At least part of the family has, and I'm not really sure how much interaction mom's been having with her side of the family. So there again, unless there's some extreme social anxiety here that's to the extreme, there should be no reason that the neighbors didn't see her get in the car, or the family had some type of communication with her, interaction, whether it be over holidays, birthdays. Any of those scenarios should have given the family some interaction with this young girl.
I also imagine homeschooling, it prevents its own, it raises its own challenges, as opposed to a child who's in school day in and day out. I covered another case like this as well. There's less eyeballs, there's less attention, there's less follow-up. How many cases do you cover where there is a situation of homeschooling and it does take a while to find out if someone's missing or something wrong is happening?
It's hard because the parents and the people who are inside the home control the narrative, as you can imagine. We have no rights to go into a home. Even private or investigators, law enforcement investigators, have no right to go into a home. They can do a welfare check where they may come to the home and knock on the door and say, "Hey, is it okay if I see your daughter? You know, we're concerned that we haven't talked to her in a while." But there again, the parents or the mother may say, "No, she's busy. She's sick. She doesn't feel good today. She doesn't really feel like talking to you." And now that's concerning, even for a law enforcement officer. So those are the things you have to deal with when you are homeschooling. And a lot of times, unfortunately, parents use homeschooling, some of them do, to cover up bad things that happen or abuse. I know there's been a lot of cases in the media recently where kids who were homeschooled had signs of abuse, and it was covered up by the parents because they brought them into the homeschool scenario. They were in control of their life.
I, in one aspect, I'm thankful at this point that it's just a missing persons investigation as opposed to a homicide investigation. Unfortunately, I've seen in other cases that quickly evolve and, evolve into that. At this point, if it's just a missing persons case, what does that tell you?
It means that they don't have enough to say that there is more at this point. Remember, Jesse, they all start as missing persons. And we tell everybody that through our organization. The homicide victims that we recovered, they started as missing persons. Everybody that we recovered started as a missing person. So I would tell you that's the first phase of this, and this may progress quite quickly depending on the information they get or the lack of information they get. That alone can give you probable cause. It's not what you find. Sometimes it's what you don't find that can still give you the probable cause to start moving forward.
I have to imagine people who look at this story will look at this photo of Melodee and their heart will break. I mean, she's just such a sweet girl, such a sweet face. If people want to help, we put up the contact information. What do you encourage people to do right now? I mean, obviously we're amplifying this. We want people to know. How can people be on the lookout? What should people be looking for? What is the role of the public and the community in this investigation in finding Melodee?
I would tell the public, and even like in our cases, to be the eyes and the ears of law enforcement. If you think you see her, take a photograph. If you can't, take a video of her and turn that into the police. Call the police and say, especially if you live close to where she lived, if you think you see her, but she could be anywhere. If she is truly alive, she could be anywhere in the United States or even outside the United States. So at this point, it's important for anybody who think they see her to take a video or a photograph, turn that into law enforcement, contact law enforcement, note the location that you've seen her at, and let them know right away, whether it be local law enforcement or the FBI. The FBI has a hotline. You can contact them as well. So there's multiple opportunities here for anybody to help this investigation.
FBI joining this, how does that change things?
It's very concerning. It shows that this is reached a different level of investigation. If this was just a missing persons case, FBI typically doesn't involve in many missing persons case. If they are anticipating this being something more, that's where you start seeing local reach out to the federal law enforcement agencies and start getting them on board early in the investigation. So that way everything is done properly. Not that local law enforcement doesn't, but sometimes federal law enforcement can bring in additional resources, especially inside the search warrant into the home, going inside, trying to locate DNA and other things. So yes, you'll see a lot of that, a lot of resources there. And I think it projects what we may be seeing soon.
By the way, I just have to get your opinion about this. Sometimes you wonder how these cases start. They can start with a 911 phone call. They could start with a witness seeing something. Thank goodness for the school, right? They realized what happened to this girl, and they hadn't seen her for a long time. Something was going on. Talk to me about that. How these missing persons cases begin to have, the foresight to know that something is wrong and contact law enforcement.
Jesse, there's angels in the world, and it sounds like this person from the school is definitely one of those individuals. I think what's most concerning is the mother wasn't the one reporting the child missing. Why wasn't the mother there jumping up and down saying my child's missing? But this person from the school, thank God for them that they realized that something's wrong here, and they threw down the red flag to at least get additional eyes on this case until we can figure out what's going on. So kudos to them, absolutely.
Billy Lane, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Again, we are the Essentials. I encourage people who are in these situations to contact your organization because you do provide a great service. Thank you so much, Billy.
Thank you, Jesse. God bless.
And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on X or Instagram. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.